We made it! Today's today! Ah. Oh my god. Mabuhay and welcome back to the channel. My name is Tez Milan. I'm a Filipino-American creative and I'm super excited for today because today is the day that we get to see Easter Sunday. Easter Sunday! Ah! Okay. The reason why I'm so excited is not because I'm like a super fan of Jo Koy. I mean, obviously I'm a fan of Jo Koy, but it's because this film is a huge leap forward for Filipinos and Filipino-Americans and Filipinos all over the world. It's a huge leap forward because for the first time, we are gracing the big screen and showcasing our families and our culture and our love for food, all the good things that make Filipinos Filipino. It's like so amazing. I can't even stand it. Okay, I gotta figure out what to do with this poster. Hold on. I'm putting it right here. Tonight I am going to the premiere showing of Easter Sunday, not the premiere, not the red carpet premiere, but the premiere of Easter Sunday. I shared with you how amazing Jo Koy is, how funny he is, and how he's been like super proud to share everything amazing about Filipinos and Filipino culture since like day one. This movie is like a big deal. It's a big step forward for us. It's a big step forward for people of color in general. It's a big step forward for people who have a story to tell, regardless of what color we are, whether we're white, black, yellow, orange, brown, green. It's just a really important step forward because we're adding to the rainbow of who it is that we are as a human being race and sharing in the joy of all of that. And I'm gonna go and watch it and just bliss out. Yes, let's do it. Let's go see this movie. Okay, bye. There we go. All right, just came back from watching the movie. At first I thought I was gonna do a review, but I don't wanna do a review. I just wanna tell you that you gotta go see this film because first of all, it's like all about everything that's amazing about Filipinos and so funny. But I wanna share with you what makes this film so distinctively Filipino. And these are things to look out for when you go see this film because you should go see this film. Spoiler alert, I may say some things about the film that you may not wanna hear if you still wanna go see it and not know anything about the film because I'm gonna reference a few things. I won't tell you the plot and what happens, but I may talk about some things that may allude to the plot and allude to certain aspects of the film that you may not want to hear. Just a heads up, if you don't want to know anything about the film, stop this episode, watch the film, come back to it, and then you can like, you know, go, oh yeah, okay. What I want to talk about are the things that make this film distinctively Filipino. Starting with number one, all of the food. If you notice, Jo's mom is constantly cooking. She's always making food. One of the first scenes is Jo's cousin who comes in and says to his tita, who's Jo's mom, hey, can I have some of that caldereta? Later on in the movie, you also see her cutting calamansi. Yeah, calamansi is also distinctively Filipino. They have a lunch picnic. I was like, okay, what is it called when Filipinos get together and they have like this huge spread of food and everybody just comes in together and they start eating together? It's called salo-salo, which basically means to come together. It's almost like the saying to break bread together. Salo-salo is us coming together around a table and sharing food, which is something that we really love to do. Again, referencing the fact that food is like all over this film and such a huge part of this film because it's like where all the family comes together and where most of the most important scenes happen. Again, at the very end of the film, and a very important scene that I'm not going to tell you the details about happens at the dinner table. Here, I just want to show you a picture of what salo-salo looks like. It looks like this. I mean, it's just like a spread of food and everybody just comes to the table and just, you know, starts eating together. Now, the one thing that I notice is missing in regards to the food in this film is that when they did the picnic scene, they had, you know, things like ube, cream rolls, empanadas, a lot of distinctive foods that are very Filipino. The one thing I did not see, and please let me know in the comments below if you did see this when you see the film, I did not see lechon. Now, lechon is at every single picnic, every single major meal, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all of the major, Easter, New Year's, every single major meal that Filipinos have together, especially outdoor picnics, there's usually a lechon, like full-on pig on a spit being roasted over a pit of like charcoal. That is always at a Filipino picnic or party, and that was not in the film. I don't know if they took it out. I don't know if it just grossed out people in Hollywood or whatever, but it was not in the film. If it was in the film and I missed it, please let me know. All right. They talk about halo halo. Halo halo is this delicious dessert. And it's interesting because when they show halo halo in the movie, they're drinking it out of like a cup, like boba. It's weird. I was like, I've never seen halo halo look like that. Usually it's in a glass jar and it's like, you know, long, and then there's like all kinds of layers of stuff. But it's really cool because the character whose name is Tala, who's played by Eva Noblezada, she's very wise. And I think that's also very distinctively Filipino. Hold on, I gotta take a sip. She's like spouting off all of these like really deep sayings and things that we were just like, oh my gosh, I never thought to think of it like that. There's a lot of like Filipinas that do that, where they're just like, oh yeah, here's an association and here's how deep we can go with it. She says that about like halo halo, which is this crazy dessert that's super popular in the Philippines. And she says how halo halo is multi-layered, it's super complex, and it's, what does she say? It's messy and you just keep coming back for more. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of true. It's just so cool how they make this reference to dessert and then tying it to something that's like super like deep and like philosophical. The second thing that makes this film very Filipino is the baby Jesus. I didn't grow up in a house that had a baby Jesus, but I had other things that reference our strong ties to the Catholic faith. If you ask Filipinos, a lot of households had this statue in their home. And it's pretty funny that they make the statue sort of like this creepy figure, so much so that they have to like turn the baby Jesus around so that it's not staring at them. And then there's another scene later on where they walk back into the house and the baby Jesus is like there staring at them as they're like walking into the house, and they make notice of that. So that is another thing that you'll find in a lot of Filipino households is the baby Jesus. The third thing that makes this film distinctively Filipino are, of course, amazing Hollywood heavy hitters Tia Carrere and Lou Diamond Phillips. They kill it. I mean, they are so good in this film, and it's so cool that they pay homage to these two Filipino figures of the Hollywood screen. They reference Manny Pacquiao several times. They've got his gloves. They also make reference to his birthday, the way that, okay, again, spoiler alert, I'm gonna say something pretty important about the end of the film, but it's pretty cool that Joe then ends up punching out the bad guy at the very end of the film. That's a very Manny Pacquiao reference. That's a place of pride for Filipinos, is the fact that Manny Pacquiao has had such an amazing career. I mean, so much so that he even ran for president, and even though he didn't win, he still is a huge figure in the Philippines as well as abroad. Another thing that's also very distinctly Filipino is the sense of family values. Like how important family is. Jo Koy is known to be very tied to his mother, even though he's like oftentimes making fun of her. He loves her, and that's why he's making fun of her and talking about her so much. This film is very much centered around family and trying to have a stronger connection between parents and children, and it's a female-driven story. Even though Jo is sort of like the center of all of these like moving parts, it's the women that are the most magnetizing and the ones who drive a lot of the actions that happen in the film. So it's very matriarchal, and that's also very distinctively Filipino, is that the women in the household, they're just really strong. You know, Filipino women are just very strong, and they are very strong in this film as well. They are motivating factors for what drives most of the film. One thing that I noticed, which I think is also very much a part of the Filipino story, especially Filipino-American story, is the struggle that Joe has when he's trying to get into this TV show that he's auditioned for. They keep saying, oh yeah, do the accent. You know, have the accent play into your Asianness. And that's something that I think is also a struggle that a lot of Filipinos in Hollywood face. I know that a lot of varying ethnicities who have been on film and been on TV, they're always stereotyped into what it is that they should be playing. They are still being confronted with, oh, well, you should just play a certain role the way that we expect you to be playing it. For Joe to like make that an important aspect of the film, I think is shedding light on a struggle that I've experienced personally, but also I think a lot of Asian American and ethnic Americans face when they're trying to break into Hollywood. It's a thing, it's a real thing. I really commend him for that. The very last thing that I want to share is the star. At the very end of the film, he's doing this special thing, which actually ties into his life because he did this special thing as of recent, and it didn't unfortunately turn out the way that I think he wanted it to. I'm referring specifically to his pilot, his TV pilot. You know how like Friends has like their distinctive Friends logo? He represents the Philippine flag by having the star as like sort of the centerpiece of that logo. Those are the ways that Easter Sunday represents the Philippines and Philippine culture. I'm just so proud that this film came out. I mean, there's There's some super funny moments. There's some moments that really touched my heart because I could totally relate to them as a Filipino American. So happy to have Philippine culture being uplifted and spotlighted. And yeah, go watch the film and leave a comment in the section down below. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you also found other things about the Philippines that I may have missed and things that make you go, yeah, that's totally Filipino. That's so cool. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, if you enjoyed the film, give this episode a thumbs up. I will see you next week. Thanks so much for watching. Paalam. Goodbye. I'm just gonna like double camera it right now. Hi, 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 hi. Yay.